Although Her Majesty the Queen Mother Gyalum Dorji Wangmo Wangchuck requires no introduction, allow me to offer a brief one for our viewers online from far and wide. Her Majesty is the founder and president of the Tarayana Foundation. Her Majesty is also the royal patron of Bhutan Echoes, Drukgyal's Literature Festival, the erstwhile Mountain Echoes. Her Majesty commissioned the 108 Churtans, Lakang and Techu at the Druk Wangil complex. Her Majesty is an accomplished writer, poet, and a champion of our rural communities. Your Majesty is known as the Walking Queen, the embodiment of the compassion of the goddess Tara. What inspired Your Majesty to establish the Tarayana Foundation?
Tarayana Foundation was formed, it came into being as a result of the outcome of the journeys I made into rural Bhutan more than 25 years ago. And during those journeys, I experienced the lives of our rural population as how they lived it, how they felt it, and their hopes and aspirations for a better life for themselves and their children. And so as I journeyed from one village to another, and I ate with them, I spoke to them, I experienced their hardship, because I decided not to ride on the horses that are available to me, but I decided to walk and to experience their daily existence. And as I experienced their lives, and I felt this really great need to help them. And during that time, Namgay, I was the patron of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Environment, and that is the reason why I decided to walk into the remotest corners of our country. And accompanying me were Chimi Pede, who later headed the executive of our foundation from its inception, and she was working in the Ministry of Agriculture. And there was another lady, Chim Pen, who worked in the Ministry of Education at that time. I needed these two ladies because these were very important aspects of the lives of the future of our children in the rural villages. And so as I walked and I experienced, I felt the need. I felt a great need to do something to get them out of the existence of having no roads, of having no proper housing. They were, most of them in the very remote areas of Ken, were living in huts. So then I decided I cannot go back to Thimphu and do nothing about it. So then I decided to establish the Tarayana Foundation. And Namgay, from the very beginning, I will have to tell you what the Tarayana Foundation, Tarayana means actually. Tara, as you know, is Jisindama, the goddess of compassion, the Tara. And the Yana means the vehicle. So Tarayana, the two words together, means the vehicle of compassion. And now our logo is the hand of the Tara, and in the hand is an eye, and the eye sees the need, and the hand reaches out to compassionately serve our people in need.
The Tarayana Foundation is one of the earliest non-government organizations in the country. Your Majesty, what were some challenges in establishing a foundation in that context?
Well, Namgay, that's a very good question, because I had absolutely no idea how to be a president of a foundation, how to run it, how to establish it. But the great desire was there. And so I reached out to Chimi Pete, who was then the head of the PPT in the Ministry of Agriculture, to come to head the foundation as its executive head. And I was rather nervous asking her, because she was a very valuable asset to the Ministry of Agriculture. But I really was very surprised and totally, let's say, happy with her response, because she said, Your Majesty, I was waiting for you to ask me. And so she came, and our foundation, we didn't have any money. So I emptied out whatever little I had from my bank account. And then I have a building called Zomla in town, and we used the biggest flat there as the office. And my mother came and blessed the office. She sat on the chair first before me, because it's important to receive our mother's blessings first. And then the foundation was established by the blessings of our crown prince, who had Asho Kissa at that time. And then we formally opened, as you knew, 20 years ago on May 4th. And Desitin Zirabke, he came in as a very young Rinpoche, and His Eminence Dorji came to bless us for the inauguration. And that's how we started. But I think it was a good lesson in, and also which will serve as an example for anybody wanting to do anything passionately. You just have to do it. You just have to do it. And over the years we've grown. I'm glad Tarayana Foundation was formed when it was.
Your Majesty, today the Tarayana Foundation has grown both in its services and geographic reach. What are some of the programs, projects and initiatives that Your Majesty is particularly proud of?
Namgay, let me speak to you about the transformation of the societies that we began with. I would like to talk about my journey into the Lop communities of Samtsi first. Now, I did a survey on which of our indigenous communities needed our intervention the first. So we decided to go to Samtsi, and then we had to cross the Chamurchi river something like 24 times. And since we couldn't take off our shoes 24 times, we bought butter slippers. We call them the tetims. And we crossed the river 24 times wearing those slippers. And once we reached the other side of the river, and we were about to ascend a hike to get into the villages, I noticed that my feet were bleeding. And I'm sure it was the same for my companions who were traveling with me. So that didn't deter us, because we had a mission. And so we walked into these villages, and it was quite a journey in the sense that even walking into the villages, I've never experienced such a huge hailstorm. Huge, it was really huge. And the place that we were supposed to stay in was totally flooded after the storm. So we took refuge in the headmaster's quarters. After that, the next day, I went into all the villages. The first thing I noticed was that there wasn't a single proper house. All the houses were on stilts, bamboo. Even the flooring was bamboo. I walked into these houses, and I saw that there was nothing there, hardly anything. I felt a sense of deep compassion overwhelm me. And there I met an old lady called Angesera, who was very pleased to see me. She asked me who I was. I told her. And then likewise I walked into many of the houses. It was a large cluster of villages in form of huts. So then I gathered the community, and I gave them a nice lunch. I spoke to them. I made them dance, their traditional dances. And then I spoke to them and I told them, your village is called Lotokuchu A, Lotokuchu B, and Lotokuchu C. Now, I've never done this before, but I would like to now give you a very special name. And now, from today, your villages are going to be named after your king. And it's going to be called Lotokuchu Jigme, Lotokuchu Singi, and Lotokuchu Wangchuck. And once you receive the name of your king, your villages are going to prosper. And I make a solemn pledge that you will prosper. So having said that, I felt a sense of relief in me, but at the same time a sense of worry as how Tarayana Foundation could accomplish that. We saw many other needs apart from housing. There was education. For instance, there wasn't a single a student who had reached the class 12 standard. And their livelihood was very, very basic, very basic. There was no income generating activities there. And so there was the need not only to build them proper houses, but a total upliftment of the existence in form of agriculture, in form of education, in form of income generation, and so on. And then Namgay, what we did was, the first thing we did was we posted a Tarayana field officer into their community. Now this field officer lives with them, works with them, and then in consultation with them, then it's decided what their needs are. So we started with rebuilding their homes, new homes, building them new homes, and then we also established a paper making factory there, whereby they made their show, traditional Daphne paper, and also frames and other products from Daphne. And then we also incorporated weaving, because they did not have that, they didn't know how to weave there, they never did. So we started that, and then improving their nutrition. During that trip, I distributed spades and vegetable seeds. And at that time, it was very funny, because during that meeting, when I was distributing the seeds and the spades, of course, I gained a lot of strength, because the spades cost a lot, and I had to literally hold each one and hand it over to one member of each household. And then during the meeting, a person got up and he said, "And who are you?" So I said, "I'm the old wife of your king." And I think that took him aback. But this journey to Lotokuchu Jigme Singi Wangchuck was, I would say, the catalyst. And thereafter, we started the same process in the Rukha in Wangdi, in other Rukha, and also the indigenous communities there, and also in the Tongsa district of Changbi. We did the same thing. And I have to tell you, Namgay, a lot has happened. A lot has changed. I have gone back several times to see the progress of the work and the after effects of our intervention. And now they're full of confidence. They have the Flop Express, many boleros, whereas they had none in the past. They have now we have graduates, we have engineers, doctors, etc., coming from this, out of these communities, and who are serving them. It's really wonderful when you go back and then you have a meeting again with them, and now their needs are different. In the beginning, their needs were basic. Now their needs are higher employment and other things like the Lop Express. They have their radio stations whereby they communicate, whereby they also disseminate their own traditional way of life. They communicate with each other. And for me, I think, and for everybody who's been involved in the journey of Tarayana, of working really hard, the ones, especially the ones living in the villages and serving in the villages with the village communities, the ones who are formulating programs here in the head office, the ones who are contributing monetarily, our donors, our sponsors, our well-wishers. I think all of us today, as we turn 20, should be gratified in knowing that we have transformed many, many, many hundreds, thousands of lives. You know, Namgay, Tarayana Foundation, in our service, we have impacted literally half of the population of Bhutan in one way or the other.
Could Your Majesty share more about Tarayana's venture into the climate and environment sector to empower rural livelihoods?
Thank you, Namgay, for asking me this question. It's very important. In the course of Tarayana service, we noticed that spring shed and water supply in the villages were getting scarcer. And so what we've done now is to look after those spring sheds and also to build water tanks, bring the water supply to the villages. This is very, very important because as the population gets more, the usage gets more of water, the scarcity, it's very, very, it's very stark. And during my last visit to the district of Tserang, people there and even the schools there were asking me to help them through Tarayana bring about reliable water source to them because they were facing difficulties. Now this is something that Tarayana Foundation has started doing many years ago, and now we are committed. All our field officers are committed to looking after those spring sheds, building water tanks, and also bringing the required water supply to where it's needed. It is of course a challenge, Namgay, because spring sheds are actually drying up. Tarayana Foundation from the very beginning started paying emphasis and working on rainwater harvesting. We've done that, educated our rural communities to do that. And we started looking after our spring sheds and through the spring sheds bringing water supply to where it's needed. So since water supply is getting scarcer because of more usage, because of more population, this is something that we in the Tarayana Foundation are paying great attention to, and the country as a whole need to pay attention to this need. Now, talking about the environment also, there is also the wildlife conflict, especially when the wild animals take the harvest of the hard work of our farmers. So the foundation also has done a lot of work in the supply of electric fences, which has helped the villagers keep the harvest. So that's a very important thing also, which is of course the government does at a very very larger level, but we do it in the communities that we serve, and it's been of really great help. And another thing that that I would like to talk to you about is solar panels that we supply and put up in the villages that we serve in. We've also sent many women to be trained in India how to fix the solar panels and how to maintain them. So these villagers who have gone and been trained go back into the villages. We call them solar engineers, and they have the sense of great pride, because they really do feel that they're useful and they need it, and their service, of course, helps to keep their villages alight. So even in the solar aspect, we have started doing this a long time ago. So in Kendali, we set up a mini hydro project to provide electricity where there was none in that vicinity. And the joy of the people as the mini hydro project became operational is what you and I can imagine, Namgay. So Tarayana Foundation has really reached out to every corner of our country, and we have done our very best in addressing every need, from basic to what is useful now and in the future. So Namgay, Tarayana Foundation now works in 500 villages in all of our 20 Dzongkhas in Bhutan. And we are yet to build many more houses. We've built thousands of houses so far. But we need to build more houses because of the fact that what happens is that in a family, when a child grows up and then he or she moves out, they need a new house.
Your Majesty, how have arts and crafts played a role in economically empowering rural communities?
Well, Namgay, Tarayana Foundation has done its very best in trying to market the products of our rural communities with their traditional arts and crafts. But to tell you one thing, in the beginning, the foundation went about to see the local products that were being made by rural communities. Now let me start with Tonsa. In Tonsa, we revived the production of nettle weaving. So it had actually become extinct. So in Tonsa, there was one lady, and we entrusted her. She was very capable, and then we set up a place for them to weave nettle. So now they produce nettle weaves of different kinds. It can be mats, it can be runners for table runners, napkins, kamnis, etc., etc. And that has been very well revived, and actually has become quite popular. So Tarayana has done that, the revival of nettle weaving, and also weaving in the sense now, what is popular now, which can be sort of sold, different designs, etc. And likewise, the pottery making, this is actually Zamzonidi, the pottery making was more or less extinct. So we got hold of a very old couple, they were in the 80s, and then they trained the younger ones to make the pottery. And in Tonsa again, a young man, he developed this great passion for pottery making, and so he started making pottery and making it in quite a large number actually. And so all these products, the nettle weave, plus the pottery, and then other traditional products like panchu, palang, the bobs, etc. They were all sold during our Tarayana annual 3-day fairs. And then through our Tarayana craft center, we started selling their products and giving them all the profits without the middleman costs. But now I'm happy to say that there's the craft bazaars have come up, and many outlets where their products can be sold are there. But we still continue to do this. I think they trust us, our local communities, so we still continue to do this.
Education is also very close to Your Majesty's heart. What are some of the initiatives that Tarayana has carried out in this area?
You're right, Namgay. I think everything, a good foundation, a good education, everything starts with the right foundation. And for the Tarayana Foundation, we first started out by starting ECCDs in all the villages. As a matter of fact, the foundation established 65 ECCDs till we handed it over to the government, who were doing it in a big way. Education, we gave the opportunity for scholarships to many of our well-deserved students. They were sent to Bangladesh, to India, to Bangkok, amongst other countries, and they've done exceedingly well. They have become contributing citizens, and they also come back to serve Tarayana Foundation, and also they are well placed now in many different ministries and organizations. So supporting education in building the right, let's say, environment, building the right environment, giving the right opportunities for deserving students to make something of their lives, to contribute as good Bhutanese citizens and good global citizens is something that I'm proud to say that Tarayana has done, and we are still doing, Namgay. So, and even in the form of reading and writing, I must slip in Bhutan Echoes, Namgay. And since Tarayana Foundation and Bhutan Echoes, we work very closely together because I am heading both these ventures. Bhutan Echoes now will be in August. We will be introducing ourselves physically, and we're very excited about that. In the past, there weren't very many Bhutanese authors. Before Bhutan Echoes was established as Mountain Echoes a long time ago, 13 years ago. And now we have many good Bhutanese authors and good readership. And it's not only about reading and writing, it's about the arts, it's about creation itself and appreciation of creation in many of its manifestations. So Bhutan Echoes is doing well, and I hope that in the spirit of Tarayana and in the spirit of Bhutan Echoes, because after all it is to do with Bhutan and the Bhutanese people, as we represent ourselves to the wider society, to the wider world of who we are and what we can do as a people, as a nation. And if we all join hands in compassion, in dedication, with discipline, there's nothing that we can't achieve.
Your Majesty, does the Tarayana Foundation work with the government?
Namgay, we do. The government and the Tarayana Foundation work very well together. They trust us to execute many of their programs in housing and other areas of uplifting the lives of the rural population. Our field officers are invited to attend the local government meetings. So I think which is evident that they trust us and they need us, and so they work very well together in achieving the goals faster for the welfare of our people.
Your Majesty, it has truly been an incredible 20 years. What does the future hold for this journey?
Okay, but Namgay, can I go back a little more to the present? Namgay, I'm very happy to share with you, you being a very dynamic young Bhutanese citizen, I would like to tell you about the Tarayana school clubs. We have very many in all the 20 districts, and with a population of close to 6,000 members. And it is very, for me, I find it really special that they are the ambassadors of compassion, and they deliver this compassion in so many valuable and endearing ways. Like for instance, in the villages where students in the villages, they would like to contribute their compassion by washing clothes for our elder citizens, by listening to their stories. And during their holidays, when the season permits, they get involved in paddy cultivation, in also planting of paddy. And there's so many ways. This is what they do in the rural schools. Whatever they can, they do from their hearts. And then schools closer to urban Bhutan, and in urban Bhutan, they look after the most needy in their own classes by raising money to put them through higher education, and so on. So the Tarayana school clubs, we have the school clubs in the colleges in Samtsi for teachers, and also in Paro. And so what happens is that the teachers who are the members of the Tarayana clubs, they go, and once they are posted as teachers, they go and open their own clubs. And then the, let's say, compassion is multiplied all over Bhutan. And for me, I think it's very, very gratifying. I get a lot of happiness and peace because of this. I think it's important. Compassion, I think, is the most important factor of one's existence. And now we also have the Tarayana microcredit, which is very important for our rural population, to get access to dependable credit. And as of now, the Tarayana microcredit is doing very well, and we hope to expand our services to more of our rural population. So that is also a very wonderful thing. And we have the Tarayana research, which researches the impact of our service to our population. It's important to record. And so the Tarayana research arm is also doing valuable work. And then another thing, Namgay, it's a bamboo project. We call it the Tsar. Tsar means bamboo. And this is our headquarters are being established in Mongar, the district of Mongar. And we are going to engage now many of our population in plantation of bamboo and in the right use of bamboo by making furniture, our traditional arts and crafts, and many innovative designs which bamboo allows. And I'm really looking forward to the production of our bamboo and the use of bamboo, and what the foundation can do by teaching our villagers, and not only villagers but our artisans, the use of bamboo, and to make a good profit. And I would like to send a message which is important, and this message is about compassion. It's about service from the heart. It's about respecting who you serve with respect and honor. And at the end of the day, when your service bears fruit, then it is a life well lived.
Your Majesty, I'm so grateful and truly humbled today for having had this opportunity to listen to Your Majesty's thoughts and words.
Thank you, Namgay. Thank you. It's been a journey.
And for our viewers online, I hope you've had the opportunity to get a glimpse into the very inspiring work that the Tarayana Foundation has done for the last 20 years, and the even more incredible work that the Foundation strives to carry out in the future. Thank you.